Welcome to this third part of this recording on what I've called the Buzeki factor. Okay, if you don't know what the Buzeki factor is, just go back to the first recording. The link should be in the description area of this video so that you can catch up. So very quickly on to the Buzeki factor in the presidential election results. Now let's start in Uasin Gishu. We know that in Uasin Gishu, Governor Mandago gave a warning. He gave us a warning very early. He told us that they will wait on election day, and then they will be able to gauge if the first 100 votes go to Buzeki. They will send a signal right across the Rift Valley that everybody should vote NASA instead of Jubilee. Okay, we all remember that it was in the news, it was widely circulated, and so on and so forth. We also know that DP Ruto rushed there, tried to discuss and get some sort of agreement. After that discussion, DP Ruto asked Buzeki to step down. Buzeki refused. So we can only assume that the status quo remains. We can only assume that Mandago is going to make his threat, is going to turn his threat into a reality. Okay? But let's forget that for a minute. Let's assume that he won't. Let's assume that reason will prevail, and that the voters in the Rift Valley are going to vote as expected, and that most of those votes will go to Jubilee, according to some analysts, not according to me. But let's humor the rest of the analysts for a minute. Okay, I could be wrong, by the way, so maybe they're right. So let's assume that most of the votes go to to Jubilee. Okay, let's look on the ground what's actually going to happen. Okay, now the people voting for Buzeki are voting for Buzeki because they believe that he's a better governor. He's better for the job. Yeah, they're impressed by his blueprint. They're impressed by his manifesto, which is actually quite impressive, to be honest. I've talked about that in an earlier recording in this channel. Yeah, and they believe he's the best person for that job. Okay, now a lot of these people, of course, are Jubilee people because this is a Jubilee zone. So naturally, we expect a lot of those people who vote for Buzeki will also vote for President Uhuru Kenyatta. But let's cross on the other side to the Mandago side. Okay, the Mandago side, of course, are very aware of this poll, and even without the poll, they're very aware of what's going on the ground. Yeah, because they're on the ground. Yeah, they're able to gauge. They know so and so is voting like this, so and so is voting like this. They're able to gauge these factors. So how are they going to react on election day? Okay, are they going to vote the same as Buzeki supporters? Now that is a very tricky question because I've been in politics for a long time, and what I'll tell you, my verdict on that, anything can happen. Okay, I'm not saying they'll vote for NASA. I'm just saying anything can happen. Okay, now let's look at the rest of the country. Now NASA have been complaining about rigging, or they're expecting rigging to happen, blah blah blah, and you really can't blame them because if we take what has happened in the past, if that is anything to go by, then even if it was you, unge complain. Okay, now what I expect to happen if this Buzeki factor is true is that it will make fiddling with the election that much harder, which means that what will happen will be very close or an exact replica of the will of the Kenyan people. Okay, now already those who are believing that the election must be rigged, me being one of them, yeah, you can follow my earlier recordings and find out why I say that, because it's not just something from there. I'm not a supporter of NASA. Yeah, I'm not a supporter of Jubilee. I'm just analyzing according to what I see historically, what has happened in the past, and the current political trends, the signs, the movements, what's happening in government. Yeah, and the heavy investments that are being made in certain areas. It's just very obvious. Okay, so what that means is that it's going to become that much harder to fiddle with the elections, and therefore it gives NASA a better chance in the event that they really do have more votes than Jubilee, or in the event that they are as popular as they say they are. Then it gives them a much bigger chance of winning the presidency. It's as simple as that. And then the other point, actually a more weighty point, is that if it is true the Buzeki factor is in play, then it means that a large percentage of the voters may abandon their party affiliation and vote according to emotion. Okay, now we all know the emotions right across the country. In fact, a poll was done, and it was, a very high percentage. I think over 70% of the Kenyans felt that the country was going in the wrong direction. Okay, so if that survey was correct, if the mood on the ground is what I say it is, yeah, that there's a lot of disillusionment, there's a lot of feeling of hard times, there's a lot of feeling that actually we can do better, and there's a lot of feeling that maybe a change would be better. Okay, if that is true, then it would mean NASA have an edge. That's simply what it means. Okay, now I'm not here to spoil anybody's day. I'm not here to be abused and told, oh, you're a NASA, you've been paid by Raila, you're a Raila man, you're a Jaruo man, whatever. No, yeah, no. I'm just analyzing cold facts on the ground. Because, and I've started with the Buzeki factor, yeah, which should be clear. If it is not clear to you, just go back to your newspapers, read what's happening right across the country, look at that poll, yeah. Now, I know I've said in the past I don't believe in polls, but let me clarify that. I said I don't believe in presidential polls. Because once you start going across tribal lines, blah, 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 there are a lot of factors which come into play, okay? But a poll within a county, yeah, which polls people within the county, and from a reputable polling firm like Infotrack, you would have to have a few nuts loose in your head to reject that one outright. Okay, so this is what it is on the ground, and this is what I think is going to happen. Okay, and as usual, I don't have a strong position. I'm not telling you, I swear, I'm not betting with you. No, I'm just analyzing politics. That as of now, this is the situation. Okay, we wait to see what happens. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.